So for this course, we opted for live Zoom meetings to hold our classes. So for both the lectures and the tutorials, we had live Zoom. So I know that some people may prefer to do pre-recorded sessions and then post them, but we found that the live Zoom was very beneficial for the students because we gave them a lot of opportunity to interact and ask questions and to follow along. One of the, I guess, major downsides was that it took longer to get through material. So part of the learning curve for us was to figure out what material to remove so that the students could still get the same benefit out of the course without running over class time. I'm going to start by giving an overview of the hardware that we used to teach and TA this summer. So first I have in front of me my primary laptop, which is my slightly older Mac, and this was the laptop that I used to look at the participants list over here for raised hands and who was attending, as well as the chat. So this was the functional laptop. And the second device that I used is a second laptop over here, and this was for, had two primary purposes: for recording tutorials and also for screen sharing. So the reason that I used this to record tutorials is if I go into full screen mode. So if I'm recording a tutorial, I have all of the participants displayed over here, and I also, let's say I have only one computer for everything, I also have the chat displayed over here. And Zoom will sometimes record the faces in this corner. So if any students want to have their video on, they would be displayed on the recording. So for privacy, I would just collapse the presentation over the presenter view over there, and make sure the chat was hidden, and just so the students could see the screen, whatever was displayed. There were two primary ways in which we used screen sharing. So one was for presentations such as PowerPoint and or tables like Excel, and the other was for teaching software. So we would load whatever software we were teaching, for example SolidWorks, which is a 3D modeling software. We would load it under a share screen, and we would do the software steps on this screen. The other format that we used for teaching in this course was problem solving. So for problem solving, I used a phone that was projecting onto a notepad below. So I had green stickers around for my notepad frame, where the phone would pick up the notepad frame. And as you can see, it's very sophisticated. My phone is mounted to a lamp with two elastics. And underneath, I've also made a little coaster out of Connects because the phone was getting too hot, as a little bit of thermal insulation. And that's how I taught this for problem solving. Now, another alternative is to use a tablet for that you can share a screen on. So if I stop sharing over here, I'll share this screen over here. So I have to share screen. And I downloaded an app called Squid, which was $15 for the year, but many tablets come with notepads. So for example, this would be my notepad writing. So I have a stylus here, and as long as I was sharing my screen, so if we look at the other devices, my screen is shared and mirrored on the other devices, so I could write like this. Now, my writing is bad on the best of days, so because I'm not accustomed to using a tablet, I opted not to use the tablet and to instead use paper, but whatever you're most comfortable with and whatever is clearest for the students to use and learn from. Also useful on the tablet is the annotation feature. So I'm currently sharing a screen from my laptop, so I'm presenting this presentation and sharing this screen, but I could use the mouse on this laptop to annotate, but it's a little clunky. So instead, it's better to use the annotation from a tablet. So let's say I wanted to underline work holding, I would do something like that. I'm having a little bit of trouble with my animation right now, but that would be the general idea. This is really useful if teaching something, let's say, on an Excel sheet where it's really difficult to follow along. So it's kind of like the equivalent of a laser pointer. Or for when we were teaching SolidWorks or any other type of software, this was really useful because the students are often on only one device and we have no idea what size of device they are using. So in order to follow along, they have to sometimes, especially when learning software, they're flipping between screens. So it's really helpful to go slowly and to circle things as you mention them so that when they flip back, they can catch up and follow along. So in order to annotate, so I can annotate directly on the screen that I'm sharing. And in order to do that, I come up here. So I'm currently sharing a screen in this Zoom meeting. I'm going to hover over the "you are sharing a screen" green bar, and I'm going to press annotate over here. Sometimes annotate doesn't show up on top and you have to click more, and the annotate icon, or the annotation capability appears in this list, but it's up here. So I can click annotate and then my annotation bar shows up here. I can choose, right now I have a pen, so I can circle things on my shared screen. And just whenever you change screens or if you want to do something else, you have to press the clear button. So clear all drawings, and then typically you have to escape annotation. So you have to click the X over here in order to go back to your page and be able to do things like scroll.